guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Angelica. Please make sure you subscribe down below and turn on your post notification. You'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you haven't done so already, what you waiting for? I mean, you are watching my video, might as well be subscribed and notified when I upload. So first, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of how it's like working at Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to tell you guys some crazy, awkward, and rare experiences that I've had. And now we're gonna get straight to the video, so let's get to it. Have you ever walked into Dollar Tree and saw a super long line, only one cashier, a messy store, and it's just like overwhelming for you? Well, a lot of it has to do with the company, because literally there's like 1 or 2 people working a shift. In the afternoon we have 3 people, and during the holidays we're lucky enough if we have 4 or maximum 5 people working. We don't really have a lot of help, so sometimes we struggle when we have super long lines and people are constantly yelling, open up another register. Like, if we had another person, yes, you would have opened it, but there's only 2 of us, and one person is busy filling up the refrigerator because they have to take out the merchandise, and then I'm the only one on register, so I can't do anything about it. And they get mad, and then they say,
I'm gonna call corporate. You know what? I'm gonna report you guys.
They are so demanding, and they want somebody to open up just for them. And then there's people always fighting for the line. They're just like,
I was here first. You shortcutted
the
me.
good thing is that sometimes you get your regulars, so they're so understanding. 9 times out of 10, if you apply at Dollar Tree, you're gonna be a cashier no matter what. You will not move up in position. Literally, there's either management, cashier, recovery, and freight, which is the people that stock all the merchandise onto the shelves, and that's pretty much it. I would always have to work the holidays, all of the holidays. The reason behind that was because I didn't have any kids, and I'm just like, I told my manager, I was like, oh, in order for me to get a holiday off, am I supposed to have a kid? And then she just like smiled at me and said no, but you could tell like she knew, like, this girl caught on. And I only knew that because one of my co-workers had told me that that's how she does it. One time I actually did get a holiday off. It was Valentine's Day. I worked the days leading up to Valentine's Day, but I was not scheduled to work Valentine's Day. And if you guys know, it's so chaotic in there. Everybody's fighting for balloons. We have super long lines. So I was like so happy. So the next day when I walked into the office to get my till, she looked at me and said, you didn't work yesterday, huh? And I was like, no, you were so kind enough to give me the day off. She just looked at me and then she said, well, I'll make sure that never happens again. So that's so mean. I don't know, I just found that kind of rude. So, you know, if you want a holiday off, have a kid. And if you're also planning to apply, just know there's no hope, absolute 0 hope of you getting a raise. When I first started, I was like 6 months in, and my first raise was 10 cents. I know, 10 cents. Anyways, later on, minimum wage changed to $10.50. I believe it was around 2018. So I thought, oh sweet, I'm gonna get $10.60, right? Turns out, no, mijita. I was stuck at $10.50. So literally, me being there for like 6 months plus, and a new girl who like came as a cashier, we were getting paid the exact same thing, which I honestly think that's not really fair. And I had a little bit over a year, I got another raise, and guess how much it was this time? 25 cents a quarter. And I was kind of like, you know what, that's cool. That is twice as much as the previous raise that they given me, and I was happy about it. I was like, sweet, I got a quarter. Then minimum wage increased to $11, and I was back at $11. And technically, if you think about it, they give you a raise and they take it away, so technically you don't even get a raise. So if you go there in hopes of getting a somewhat decent paycheck, we just get roughly around 20 hours. The most hours I've gotten were like between 32 to 35, and that was during like Christmas. And a lot of people don't know this, but we do allow coupons. But how it works is, if the machine reads it, we accept it. If the machine does not read it, we don't accept it. And they get mad at us. They say, you know what, I don't want anything, and they leave. And I'm just like, seriously, like, how cheap do you want your things? Everything is already $1. This was my first job, and my store manager warned me that there was a lot of stealing. You are not only a cashier, you are also a security. People steal constantly, left and right, all hours of the day. Sometimes the people you least expect it are the ones who steal. There was a time this lady had like her carriola and her baby, and she had like, we sell Pokemon cards, so she had like a big fat stack of Pokemon cards inside her cup holders, and she was trying to like distract me and ask me questions. And when a lot of people try to ask you questions, they are using it as a way to distract you, and you kind of already know. Once you've been working there for a certain time, you can tell. So I called her out on it and I said, señora, va a comprar esas tarjetas. And then she's like,
¿Cuáles tarjetas?
and I was like, las que tiene allí. And then she's like,
Ay, ¿cómo se me fue a olvidar? ¿Sí me las cobras?
there was once a lady who got like a hand basket and she filled it up with Valentine's Day fairs. This lady like ran out the door, and she had her van parked at the storefront, and then she like took off, and then my store manager took a picture of her so we could remember her next time she would come. And sometimes people planned their escape and they literally drove away backwards so we wouldn't see their license plates. So you can kind of already tell what people are going to steal. And these people sometimes come in big groups or they come carrying bags. Yes, we do have cameras. Maybe we don't have an actual security, but at the end of the day, all the employees are security. So working there, you kind of have to pretend that you own that place. You need to defend it. If you don't, you will get called out on it. Like,
why didn't you do anything? Blah, 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 blah.
I know a lot of my coworkers, they will like push the robber and then slam them across the door as they were leaving. And then another one of my coworkers like grabbed onto the boy's backpack, and then like he turned around and started hitting her, and then there was like a fight going on, and then the boy left. There's so many stories of fights going on. We call the police, but the police takes forever to come, and when they do, the person had already left. So my store manager always tells us to tell people that we don't have a restroom. The people that shoplift ruin it for all of you in order to prevent theft. They close the restroom and it's not allowed for the public. And then sometimes you have those people that are all drugged up, and then they come being obnoxious, and then the customers come to us and they complain that they don't feel comfortable shopping having them there. So then that's when we call the cops because that person doesn't want to leave. And then in that case, the police actually did come on time. There was also this kind of creepy experience that happened to me. So I was, as usual, on register. I was ringing up the customers, and towards like the middle aisle, I noticed that there was this man standing there for like a good 10 to 20 minutes. He was just standing there, and I saw him, but I didn't really think anything too much of it, just because I know a lot of people sometimes wait for their family member to do the shopping because they don't really want to look around, so they just stay there by the front. So I was like, maybe he's waiting for somebody. But then I found it weird because he would never get into the line, and when he did, he wanted to be the last person in the line. So then this person comes, and then he has no items, and I looked down, saw that he didn't have any items. So I was like, well, maybe he might want balloons, but I didn't say anything. I just thought that in my head. And then I just looked at him. He had like sunglasses and a hat, and then he told me,
do not make any sudden movements. I have a kid held hostage.
open up your till and give me the money. I was like, is this for real? I was like, I know stuff like this happens. You see it all the time in the news. Like when it happens to you, you're kind of like, what? And then he told me to not make any sudden movements, and that's exactly what I did. Good thing one of my coworkers was like in an aisle. It was a few feet away from me. I turned and I called her name, and she came up to me, and then I was like, this man, I told her the situation. She got the phone, and then she called the store manager to the front. And then what happened was that the man was just like, oh no, I was just joking, I was just joking. And then my coworker was like, that's not something to be joking around with. And then he left, and I remember he had like a star-shaped tattoo on his neck, and my store manager reported it, and she has it on camera and everything. But like, I was just like, if this man says he was joking, why was he waiting there 10 to 20 minutes? Like, are you just going to stand there to be playing a joke on somebody? He was covering up his face with a hat and sunglasses. So I don't know, you tell me what your thoughts are. Working at Dollar Tree, the balloons are a nightmare. I know for you guys as customers, you guys love going there for balloons. You're happy, you can't wait to choose. A tip that I'm gonna give you guys is if you know you're gonna want balloons, please write them down either on your phone or on a piece of paper. Write down the number, because we have to input a code before we go and give you the balloon, because if we don't put in the exact code that you chose for the balloon, we're not gonna get shipments of that specific order. And I had a long line and people are always asking for balloons, and I couldn't be running back and forth, especially if they have big orders. So I just grabbed the phone and said, assistance to balloons. She took like 5 minutes to come, and when she came, she's like, stop calling me. And sometimes when we call for backup, they get mad at us because they're like, why are you calling me? You don't even have such a long line. I rarely call for help, even though I have a long line, because like I already know how my coworkers are. So it is important for you guys to let us know what number you want. One of my pet peeves is when people are so demanding that they want balloons and they want you to hurry up and give it to them. So when you go, they're standing there for like a good 5 to 10 minutes just looking up and saying,
I don't know which one I want.
and then they're like,
Hold on, let me call my mom, let me call my friend or my cousin, my sister to see which one. Hold on.
meanwhile, people are lining up in my line. My line is probably turning the corner by now, and everybody's yelling for me to go back. And then I'm the one who has to deal with angry customers. A lot of people ask us, just give me that balloon, can you just bring it down, the ones that are on the ceiling? And the answer is no, we cannot do that. We're not allowed to do that. Another thing is, yes, I know we sell the latex balloons, but we do not blow those up with helium. Why? Because that is store policy. Since it's latex and you fill it up with helium, it could pop and it could be dangerous for us. The company also loses a lot of money like that. When you work the register, you have to be careful that people don't give you fake bills. I had a lot of people give me a fake 20, a fake 100. If you guys don't know how to tell if a bill is real, on the bill you'll see the president there. Touch the collar, feel like a texture to it. If there's no texture, it could potentially be a fake bill. And you could also double check it by lifting it up and seeing the band that says the number. So if it's 20, you will see a 20, a 50, you'll see a 50, etc. So always do that. You don't have a lot of money in our till starting off. We have less than 100 in the till, so a lot of customers give us big bills, and sometimes even 20s can be a lot, because when I give change for a 20, I'm left with either 1 or 0 5s. The customers would always get cranky and they'll be like,
Well, you're supposed to have change.
this lady, she was paying me with $100 and I just started the register, and I told her, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have change right now for the 100, and she only took like 3 items, and I don't like when people do that. And then she was kind of cool about it, and she was like looking in her bag to find change, and she had a $5 bill in her hand, but her other, I don't know what it was, family member was like,
No, don't give it to her. She's supposed to have change. This is a store. They're supposed to have change.
and customers literally take the customer is always right phrase to heart. And I'm sorry to inform you, but that doesn't work at Dollar Tree unless they actually did have like a valid point. But a lot of the times the customer think they're so funny with their little jokes, and I mean they are funny at a certain time, but sometimes when they tell you the same joke every single time, like it's not even funny anymore. Like when people say,
Oh, is everything $1?
and then you say, yes, everything is $1, and then they say,
Even you guys are $1?
and then I'm just like, seriously, like why would you say something like that? One time I overheard somebody say to my coworker,
Oh, well, she is 50 cents because she's short.
and I'm just like, leave me alone. People are always going to try to hit on you. Majority of the time it's like grown men. It's kind of weird, and I'm just like, oh, creepy, get out of here. They would ask me, oh, what's your name? And I'm just like, it's right here, read. How old are you? Where are you from? Where are your parents from? etc, stuff like that. And then they'll like throw in some compliments, and I'm just kind of like, why are you asking me so many questions? Is this an interview or something? And one time there was this I want to say he was like Cubano, and he was just telling me like, oh, are you Mexican? And then I was like, yes, I'm Mexican. And then he was like so in awe, like if I was the first Mexican person he encountered. And then he said, oh, Guanajuato está muy bonito, yo quería ir para allá, pero estaba esperando mi residencia, entonces no pude ir. But that his friends had invited him to go, but he obviously couldn't go because he was getting his residency. And then I was like, oh yeah, cool story. And I was like, continue working, facing the items and everything, pushing my little cart, trying to avoid the man. Then he was starting to introduce himself to me, so he took out his hand and he shook my hand, and then he said his name. I forgot what his name was, I don't remember. So he was ready to pay. So then I went to the register and I was beginning to scan all his items, and then he bought a Kit Kat bar and everything. So then I put it in the bag, and then I told him the total, and he handed me the money, and then I just said, oh, have a good day. And then he was like, oh, thank you, you too. And then he like opened up his bag, and then he took out the Kit Kat and he gave it to me and said, here, this is for you, and I bought it intentionally for you. So he like took the Kit Kat, like set it aside to my counter, and then I was just like, no, I'm not allowed to take it. But then he just like walked out and everything, and so I was like, and then a few days passed, and then I see this man again. Sometimes people mistake kindness for love, I would say. Like, I'm just being kind of a person, and maybe he thought I was like. So this time around when he came, I didn't really engage in conversation with him. So he just like stood there and he looked at me, and then he's like, do you remember me? And I said, yes, I remember you. But he noticed there was like a change, and then he just like took off. But he was probably confused because like last time I made more conversation than this time, but that's because I was being friendly back then, and then it all clicked in my head, and I was like, oh no, maybe this man is getting like the wrong idea. There was another experience with a muchacho this time. He would always come and buy veladoras. So I was like, oh, do you want me to wrap them with newspaper? And he's like, oh yeah. And then I started wrapping them, and then I told him his total, and then he said, oh, do you have social media? And at that time I didn't have social media except for my Facebook, but I didn't want to tell him my Facebook because I don't know, like, no. So I just said, no, I don't have any social media, and he thought that was weird. So then he's all like, oh, at least give me your number so we can talk and everything. And then I was like, no, not my number. Like, I didn't want to give him my number because like I don't want to be texting this random person that I don't even know. And I know a lot of people say, oh well, you could have gotten to know him through text, but I was not interested, to be honest, either. So there was this lady that came behind me, and then she's like, hey muchacha, si me ayudas a agarrar unos globos? And I said, sí, ahorita voy. This dude thought like that I said ahorita. So then he went and to his car, he put his bag in his car. So when I was airing up the lady's balloon and I was walking back to the register with her balloons, the boy came back, and I was like, no, like why did he have to come back? So then he came, he had his phone in his hand, and he was standing like right next to me, like really close to me in like my personal bubble. I was kind of like, what is he doing? So like I moved a little bit this way, and then he's like, you know when people start bumping into you? So he started bumping into me, and then he's like, oh, so are you gonna give me your number? And then I said, no, I'm sorry, no. And then he's like, okay, está bien. And then he left, and that's when I saw that he had parked his car in the front of the store, and then somehow my manager had to show up there at the front.
She was like, ay, Angelica, ¿qué pasó?
And I was like, nada, metiche, just kidding. I was like, oh, nothing. And then she's like, what was that guy telling you? And then I told her, oh, he just wanted my number. And then she's like, did you give it to him? And I said, no. And then she said, why? And I said, because I don't know him. And then she was just like,
well, you could have gotten to know him.
But then I was like, no, I didn't want to. Then he drove away in his car, and then she was telling me,
look at his car, like he could have taken you out on his car, blah blah blah.
And I told her I care less about a car. And then guess what? Well, he also again bought 3 veladoras of San Juditas, and then I wrapped them up as usual, and then I told him his total, and then it was like $326 or something like that. And then guess what? So this dude pulled out like a big stack of bills, and all those bills were 100. Like he was literally like looking through his stack of hundreds, and then he gave me a 20. Then I gave him his change, and then he left. But I kind of feel like he did that intentionally to prove to me like, look, I have money, you could have had all this with me. But I was kind of like, who knows in what path in life you're taking? He could be doing like some illegal bad things. Like I don't want to be involved in that kind of stuff. So goodbye. So working there, I would say, it requires a lot of patience. And that was the end of the video. I want you guys to comment down below any experiences that you have encountered or heard of. I want to hear your guys' stories. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.